Okay, it's 4 o'clock. Let's start the Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting. Do you have a motion for the minutes? Move, second, call a question, in favor, contrary, motion carry. The next committee meeting will be on April 20th at 4 p.m., same place. Any addition to the agenda? Michael?
Yes, I'd like to add an item called number 6 road speed.
Okay.
Traffic safety, number 6 road traffic safety.
Okay.
And then I also have a couple of questions, but they'll probably fall in under manager's report.
Okay, good. Yes, so I put it under 3A, number 6 road speed and traffic safety. Okay, so do I have a motion for the adoption of the agenda? Move, seconded, so motion carry. So item number 1, ICBC State of Richmond Road Improvement Program 2020 update. Mr. Lin is the speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing to add. Happy to answer questions.
So any questions or comments? Andy?
Sorry, I haven't zoomed on this one for a while. Thank you, and through the chair. Yeah, it's always an interesting report, and I think everybody appreciates the fact that ICBC makes contributions to road safety to different municipalities. I noticed the amount is down a little bit from previous averages, but do you expect the overall increases to go up, seeing as how ICBC is reporting significant profits with the changes to how business is done? For instance, going to no-fault insurance has been a big plus for them. Do you see that going up, or has there been any discussion of that?
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, there hasn't been any discussion with ICBC staff on that. And what I can say is that ICBC has its own criteria in terms of determining the amount of funding, and we have little to no control over that. But having said that, we do have a very good relationship with ICBC staff. And if there's any opportunity to maximize or pursue new funding, we will definitely do that.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate that they make that call. Hopefully, some of that will be passed on to various cities, including Richmond. And the only other question I had on it was, and it might not be totally fair, but when it comes to page 11 and the video camera issue, has ICBC taken any position on that we know of in terms of the issue we were talking about with the resolution of the cameras and the ability to identify details? And if you think about some of the recent assaults, like the one where the guy was pushed down the stairs, video was obviously a major factor in identifying that suspect. So I just wondered if ICBC has taken a position on that with, for instance, the chiefs of police or anybody else, or police services.
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, we are not aware that ICBC has taken any position on that.
Okay, thanks.
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, Mike.
Yes.
The resolution of the camera is based on the Office of Information and Privacy more than anything else. So that's kind of the body that's determined that.
Sure, and yeah, I appreciate that. I think what it'll amount to is a lot of advocacy by different stakeholders that recognize the value in that. And not everybody agrees, but thank you.
Okay, good. Any further questions? Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to staff. Well, thank you very much to the report. Very interesting, and I think you know, a wide variety of different projects we're putting forward on BWT 12. Close to the bottom, the second from the bottom, it says installation of pedestrian zone. Oh no, sorry, the traffic calming measures, the last one. And then other locations pending results of traffic studies. So are there traffic studies ongoing right now that could result in other traffic calming areas?
Through the chair to Councillor McPhail, yes, there are a couple of projects that's on the go as well. And typically, we do receive, as we receive complaints or requests from the public throughout the year, and new studies and new projects will be pursued.
Do you have an idea of how many are ongoing right now?
There is probably 2 two projects I'm aware of right now.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you. So seeing no further questions, can I have a mover for the recommendation? Move second. Call the question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. Moving on to number 2, Provincial Watershed Security Strategy and Fund. Mr. Ho, are you the speaker?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair, and nothing further to add to the report. Mr. Paulin is also here with us to answer any questions.
Yes, great. Any questions or comments? Michael?
Thank you. Through the chair, I have a few questions directly related to the comments in the report, as well as a few other items that I think tie in related to this, so I'll ask them now. Actually, maybe I'll start with what's in the report. So thanks. I read over the strategy by the province and then the staff's comments. I really appreciated the analysis of the unique situation that Richmond is in, and that the language in the strategy should capture some of those specific concerns. My first question is, a few of them are on page 17 and 18, but I'll start at the top of page 17, and it mentions it somewhere else in here, the dewatering and the treatment process, that they can be unnecessarily costly and disruptive, especially being applied to naturally occurring conditions. Could staff just give what's a general example of that when it is costly and disruptive?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf. So, for example, the city CalPro projects, as well as private development projects, which involve significant excavations where in Richmond the groundwater is very high. As well, we have a very high iron content in our groundwater as well. All of that is naturally occurring. Whenever those excavations are required, and the excavated hole needs to be dewatered, there's a treatment process for that, as well as a process to remove and safely discharge of the water.
Okay, to follow up on that point then. So if we think of on number 3 road, the atmosphere site, the giant hole in the ground that fills with water, and that water goes somewhere. Under the staff's comments on page 19, it relates to this dewatering and treatment in number 2, and the comment is consideration should be given to adapting requirements to relative local and naturally occurring conditions. Could staff should we elaborate further in this for the comment, or could you just give me an example? What would that look like, an adapted requirement?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf. Essentially, Richmond has naturally occurring conditions that are unique from other municipalities. So this is simply to say that needs to be taken into account. We don't want a provincial strategy or regulation that doesn't recognize Richmond's specific issues. And we end up with something that hinders Richmond's ability to function effectively and efficiently. In particular, we don't want something that prevents Richmond from delivering on our critical initiatives, things like flood protection, for example.
Oh, okay, one more follow-up on that then. So if, currently, those sites, when they have water and they have to discharge them, do they discharge them straight into the river and then just report that they did it, or do they discharge it to the sewage and wastewater facilities?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, that would depend on the whichever system has capacity to take that discharge. And then before it goes into the river, at some point in that process, the treatment process is required in order to make sure that it's environmentally safe to do so.
Okay, so my next question then, thanks for clarifying some of that. I know it's complex and every situation is different there. The provincial strategy asked for us to provide examples as a city. So just looking for another one here on our page 19, item comment number 5. It talks about retrofitting existing infrastructure, and then it says there should be they should offer incentives to retrofit to improve existing water use practices. What are staff referring to there as offered incentives? Financial incentives, or is there some other type?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, yes, that would be the primary incentive that could be offered to those entities.
Okay, thanks. Through the chair, my next question on that page 19 relates to staff comment number 8, and it mentions there a commitment to reduce the introduction of contaminants from industrial, agricultural, and construction practices. We need to reduce those. Have we, a couple parts to that, my question. From Mitchell Island and the study we've done there recently and received awards and good results, what lessons have we learned, and could we not be including some of the lessons learned from that study in our comments here, or would we be saving that for later on when the draft strategy comes out?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, I'll take that one. Some of the lessons that we learned are the benefits of public engagement and resources for not only business owners but residents, and that those benefits have been captured in the comments as well, with the requirement or the request for the province to develop some comprehensive tools for residents to have, including public engagement, as well as general knowledge of the existing tools that people have that they can access to understand the complexities of water and how water affects certain environments in Richmond.
Oh, so thank you. So the follow-up there through the chair would be, like I know we did like kind of spot tests to look at what's in the water that's being discharged, but would it be a place to put a comment in that this should be ongoing and it should be provincial responsibility, or the province should fund the city or the private landowners to do that?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, I believe it is in there in one of the comments. I'm just trying to find it right now. But we do recommend annual monitoring or tightening of monitoring from provincial resources as well, because we did highlight that as a gap moving forward for the fund.
Okay, thanks. If I may, through the chair, if I can just carry on a few more here. I guess I have two more under the staff comments here. Actually, the same item, number 8, under the more focus on agricultural. I potentially see a need here for this strategy, the Watershed strategy, to protect peatlands, which is another unique thing to Richmond, which I think could be put into our comments, that we have peat soils that do a great job of holding on to water, as well as purifying water that's going through it, or from the farm activity nearby. But many applications are asking to fill and remove all those peat soils. I just had a call from someone yesterday who wants to do that in East Richmond. But what I think is lacking, and the province could provide in this strategy, is financial incentives for landowners, farmers, to work with the existing conditions they have, such as their peat soils. Could staff comment on maybe including that somewhere in this?
The chair to Councillor Wolf, absolutely. I think the spirit of that, your comment was included, but should you feel we could highlight specifics to peat, and council endorses that, then absolutely we could add that for sure.
Okay, I would like that added, and maybe you could choose where it's best, but that would be one alteration. And then my final comment on the list of 11 comments is part E of 11, so it's on page 20. So the last part of it there, it talks about guidelines for land use within watersheds. And again, I kind of thought the peatland comment could fit in here as well. But when I look through the province's strategy, or their paper, one of the items, on page 36, what is it here there? Outcome number 7, improve habitats for aquatic ecosystems. So I think in staff's comment 11E is kind of where it's being captured, what our comments are related to aquatic ecosystems. So again, another place perhaps we could be mentioning the city's plan to open up a salmon spawning area in Terra Nova, and working with the province could work with municipalities to do that, to open up daylight streams. And also, I don't know if this is a place to put it in as well, but we could look at what maybe we recommend being prohibited land uses within a watershed, like the Tilbury LNG, Mount Poly mining site, jet fuel. Like, these are things that, not all of them, that the city had a statement in opposition for, yet they're approved by a provincial environmental assessment office, and they're ongoing and being expanded and all that. So did staff consider elaborating on what we thought could be prohibited land uses?
Through the chair to Council Wolf. At the time, we did consider that, and the comment E was expected to cover those types of situations as well. Noting the fact that it would be the province that would take the lead responsibility on establishing anything on provincial land and in and around the Fraser River Delta.
Okay, so I know you're going to perhaps take this back or make an amendment to put in peat soils. I'll wait and hear what other members of the committee say, but I would think we could put in a few more things. So I'd entertain if staff think this is okay to bring it back next month with some of those changes, but we'll hear if other people have other changes, and if not, then that's fine. I just had two other comments that I think fit here, if I may, through the chair. There was nothing listed in the staff's report about our river vacuum. I forgot the name of it. That thing that is out there in the river and sucking small bits of plastic in it. Like initiatives like that, things that are cleaning up things that go through or around municipalities like ours in the North and South Arm. So ways that the province could fund or support municipalities to help capture what they can at the high tide, low tide influenced areas, which again, unique to Richmond. So I'm not sure if staff thought about putting that in or no. And then the other thing, I just heard an hour ago on CBC radio about a new flood debris explorer website where municipalities and individuals can report where they find debris washed up on shores or on high tide lines that they think are from flooding that occurred in the interior. So I just found this website. It's like a citizen science reporting thing, and I'm planning to go out, explore a couple of our shorelines soon. So I'll be reporting what I see, but I'm not sure if the city is aware of it, and if we are, we probably have a lot more knowledgeable sites that we could tell the province that they need to come do the cleanup in these areas. So again, it's called Flood Debris Explorer. You can search that and it comes up right away. Did staff have any comments on those two things? That's all.
Through the chair to Council Wolf, no specific comments on those to add.
Okay. Andy?
Thank you, and through the chair, I'll be brief. I just want to say I appreciated the report, and thanks for that analysis. I enjoyed it. I learned a few things when you were talking about elevated temperatures and dissolved oxygen and high dissolved iron rates and other metals. I also like the approach that Richmond has some unique characteristics and regarding flood protection and groundwater characteristics and things like that, and high water tables. So I think it is important to point out, as you have in the comments, which I support, that one size does not fit all. And I appreciated the unique characteristics Richmond has. So I just wanted to say thank you. I did learn a lot from reading that one.
Okay. Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I echo what Councillor Hobbs said. I think it's really important that we highlight what is unique and special about Richmond. And, you know, in a province as big as British Columbia, there will be differences throughout the province. Now, I did have a question about the timeline because on PWT 39, it says submit your ideas by March 18th. So we're past that. So did we get an extension or what is the timeline then?
Through the chair to Councillor McPhail, we have been in close contact with the province, and they are aware of our timeline, so they've granted an extension for us to submit our comments.
Oh, that's great. Good. Thank you. Thank you for the report.
Oh, yes. Now, thank you for answering Councillor McPhail's question about the deadline. I have the same concern. But now, I think this is a good report, and I think staff give a good feedback in the proposal. However, you know, I just want to ask staff a question. In terms of the main objectives of giving the feedback, what do we want to achieve? Because it covers so many areas. And from our experience, especially in PWT 18, staff talk about the current regulations has not been working, has been, I mean, in terms of operations, there have been challenges. So, I mean, what is the main goal we want to achieve by giving the feedback?
Mr. Chair, the main goal is to ensure that Richmond's circumstances are considered when the province goes about developing this strategy. We don't want to end up with a one-size-fits-all, where Richmond is covered under the same blanket as some of these other municipalities that are very different. More importantly, we don't want a strategy or regulation that inhibits the city from doing what it needs to do. The important things, such as raising our dikes, as a prime example.
Okay, but I'm also paying attention to outcome 1, which is about support and enable watershed governance. So I don't know if that is one of the areas we want to strengthen. Like, you know, I don't know how it's been working so far between the governance, between the city and the province in different areas. And I think that is also related to what you mentioned, not one size fits all. And also, I don't know if we should also try to emphasize that we would like to be on the table when major decisions are being made, and the close consultation with municipal governments should also be addressed. So I don't know whether or not there's also one thing we would like to emphasize, the governance issue.
Mr. Chair, in terms of engagement, over the years, the province has been in close contact and solicited feedback from local governments, including Richmond. I think the more important issue is Richmond has had a chance to provide input. We've met with them on multiple occasions. It's more of seeing action to make sure our comments are incorporated into what they develop.
But were there examples that our approach or some of our strategies were in conflict with the provincial strategies in the past? Were there examples like that? We want something different from what the provincial government was talking about.
Mr. Chair, I would say the main one that comes to mind would be the Water Sustainability Act and how it treats Richmond in terms of because Richmond does not, like, we don't have aquifers, we don't use our groundwater for drinking water purposes. So that's one part, again, that's not considered. And that was done kind of as a one-size-fits-all, and that was applied to Richmond. So this is our opportunity here as an initial stage in their development of the strategy for us to provide that input right off the bat and say, this is what we have to deal with. Please take it into account.
Okay, good, thank you. Now, regarding the comments being made by Councillor Wu on the pit soil, I don't know if staff can consider incorporate some of the remarks or concerns to be added into the feedback to be submitted instead of going for an amendment of the recommendation or something like that. So can staff really incorporate his concern or comments in the feedback to be submitted?
Yes, Mr. Chair, quite easily. Certainly, what's being provided in the text of the report is effectively a summary, and as Mr. Holland have outlined, there's ongoing conversations with the province, and this will basically form the framework. So certainly, I think the comments that have been provided were intended to be encompassed within what has been provided to you. So we can certainly take that direction with regards to identifying peak resources within the city as something that we pay attention to, and other elements. We can certainly do that without any further change to the resolution.
Right, okay, good, very good, thank you. So any further questions or comments? If not, do I have the mover of the recommendation? Move, second. Call a question, those in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to manager's report. Councillor Wolf, your topic.
Thank you. Yeah, so to committee, the item I'm bringing up has been brought to my attention from some residents who live on number 6 Road, on the east side of number 6 Road. There's residents all the way from River Road down south all the way to, I guess, the highway overpass. And so, and I have spoken with Lloyd B about it. He's been to the area, so he'll probably chime in a little bit more here. But when I brought this to this committee, I thought, bring it as this item, and we can decide what to do today, or we can make it an official item for the next meeting, and we can invite some members from the public to speak firsthand of their experiences here. But I also live in East Richmond, so I travel this route a lot, and I can echo a lot of the comments. There's really just a couple points that I'll make here in just a short moment. Mm-hmm. But really, I think what we need to get at is reduce the speed. There is a section of this part of 6 Road where it actually is 60 kilometers an hour, but there's only one sign that says 60, and it's only on one side of the road. So everything else says 50, but people read the one that says 60 and go faster. Even though it's sandwiched between a 50 sign and a sign that says on urban roads it's 50 unless otherwise posted. And there's a 60 sign in between those two. So I think we need to end that odd situation of having a 60 section, a 60 kilometers an hour section. And perhaps we can do that right now at this committee, or if the committee's not comfortable, then we can wait to hear more from the public. Some of the things that I've heard related to this is the need for just a larger sign or just traffic calming signage, not like not speed bumps, not extra stoplights or anything like that. Just people are asking for bigger speed signs. But I think if we were to change from 60 down to 50, that would come with new speed limit signage. So I think that would cover it. There's a lot of trucks. It's not just cars that are going fast there. There are signs up that say no engine brakes, please, but they still do it, and I've witnessed it. There has been a number of accidents noted to me by residents who live there who've been hit themselves or witnessed other ones, trucks going in the ditches and all that kind of stuff. And then there's this other thing that's new to me. There's a street racing group or company or something called Trove, and it's just down the road from there, and they go out in their supercars regularly back and forth, and they use that section of 6 Road because it's straight and flat to race. And so I don't know if staff are aware of this Trove, Trove company, but maybe checking in with them about what they do and what their cars do might be something in addition. But that's what I'd like to put to this committee is, are we comfortable to address the speed on number 6 Road right now? Or would you like to make this an item for next meeting?
Lloyd, do you want to respond?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, at the end of the day, the section actually on number 6 Road from Westminster to Cambie is by bylaw a 60 kilometer an hour section. So if you would like to change the speed limit there, that has to be done through order of council and a change of the bylaw. That's what I have to offer.
Now, so far, do you have any complaints or any kinds of feedback from the public regarding the speed or some of the issues being mentioned by Councillor Wu, like the size of the signs and something like that?
Mr. Chair, I'm not aware of any complaints, but it sounds like Councillor Wolf has received some. And with respect to accidents, yes, there are accidents along that part of the roadway. None of those are in our top 20 intersections or anything, but the majority accidents appear to be rear-enders coming from the off-ramp from the highway onto Number 6 Road.
Okay. And how about the street racing group?
Mr. Chair, I'm not aware of it. I think that's an enforcement issue, and the RCMP would be the ones to talk to about that.
Okay, Mr. Ersic, do you want to add something?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I think Lloyd has touched on what is my point. Look, I'm not saying that Number 6 Road is ideal, but much of this is an enforcement issue. We can plaster signs, every 10 feet along Number 6 Road, but if there are people street racing there, if there are regular motorists regularly speeding there, if there are trucks using engine brakes when they shouldn't, this should all be referred to the RCMP for enforcement. Poor old Lloyd it's difficult for him to say it as the Director of Transportation, but we have sections of road where it's nothing but signs and speed signs and things, and by and large they're ignored because there's an absence of enforcement. So in my opinion, what we need to do here, and I'm not saying that we don't adjust the signage or the speed, but the fundamental issue here is we need to ask the RCMP to do enforcement and to look into what is occurring. And we can certainly do it from this committee, but it might be appropriate to also raise this to the Community Safety Committee.
Okay, good. Linda, you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I was going to say that this seems, at least the speeding seems like a community safety issue. And as the chair of community safety, I can add it to the agenda. But certainly we could make a referral today to ask the RCMP to do a speed watch or something on there, or get some information on, they may have information on that club. I think I've heard of that. Isn't that where you can go, you park your cars there? And I think I read about this club. We could certainly make a referral. And, you could give us information on the background of why this is by bylaw a 60-kilometer in a memo or something, and go from there. I don't know if committee has that information or that understanding, and so I'd be prepared to make the referral to the RCMP or Councillor Wolf if you want to make that.
Okay, we can do that later. Andy, I want to hear from you first.
Well, thank you, and through the chair. Just to clarify from Councillor Wolf, we are only talking about part of the road north of Westminster Highway, like to Cambie. We're not talking about the southern part south of Westminster Highway?
Correct.
Okay, because the south part has some issues too, as far as the condition of the road and stuff. But, okay, so just focusing on that part, I support referral in response to the comment about doing something right today. I guess we could, but I would probably like to see a bit more information because it's something I could support. In terms of the speed, I haven't actually noticed that sign myself, but now I'll have a look at it because I do drive there often as well because my daughter lives out that way. And I think one thing about speed, I'll mention two things. Being pretty familiar with that road, I don't know that I agree with it being 60 kilometers an hour anymore. I think that could be a throwback to earlier times, and people that grew up here probably remember when Garden City Road had a lot of 60K signs on it too, all the way down. So that probably would be better to be consistent with most of the roads in Richmond that are 50K. I might even go a step further. and I'll probably talk to some contacts I have to take it forward to the province in another venue. I'd like to see lower speed limits for some big trucks on our roads. And that's a heavily used roadway with access to all kinds of industrial sites and different access roads. And it's much more built up than it was 30 or 35 years ago. So if we do a referral, I'd like to look at a lower speed for trucks. I don't really need big trucks going the same speed as a Tesla, even if they're all obeying the speed limit. So I'm not saying they have to go 20 or 30, but certainly not 60. And if the speed limit is changed to 50, I could see large trucks perhaps having a lower speed of 40 or something. I get tired of being passed by big trucks when I'm doing 55 in a 50 zone, although for the record, I always go the speed limit. So I support a referral. The details of the referral, I'll listen to other people, but I think it's an issue worth looking at in any case. Thank you.
Carol?
Thank you very much. I think it would behoove the committee to start the paperwork to change the bylaw to get rid of the 60 kilometers on that section of number 6 road. I too have driven down there and been right beside a massive truck that comes racing off the connector, and it is a frightening area. Now, when there was originally 60 kilometers there, it was probably because it wasn't much there 20 years ago. But as we can all attest to, it's heavily developed with warehouses, and there's all kinds of places to eat. There's places that your people are pulling in and out, and it's not appropriate to have 60 kilometers in that area. I'm glad that Councillor Wolf pointed it out because I wondered why it was such a crazy zone, and now I know why. So I would encourage the committee to start the process so that they can come to council and we can set that down 60 kilometers as soon as possible before someone gets hurt.
Okay. Now, hearing the comments made by members of the committee, I think we need two referrals. One is to refer to staff for the background about the speed limits and the speed signs on number 6 road. As Councillor McPhail mentioned, right? I think we need that kind of background information. And perhaps staff can also give us some analysis of the rationale for this setting of the speed and related things. So I think the first referral is to refer this to staff for some background information and further comments about the speed, the speed signs. And the next one, I think, is to refer to RCMP, asking them for information regarding law enforcement on speeding, application of engine brakes, and street racing. So those are the information I think we need to ask RCMP for, and see what comes back from them. How does that sound?
Yeah, I support that.
Okay, good. So, Michael, you move it? Oh, okay. It's being seconded. And I know that Councillor Liu, who's on the phone, would like to speak. So, Alexa? How's she going to speak? Councillor Liu?
I am unmuted. Can I hear?
Yes, good. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Go on.
Oh, hallelujah. Okay, thanks. I like the comments about the speed limit. I'm wondering if it makes sense to have a broader referral, because the way we're looking at it right now is a piecemeal. So we drive past the thing, we're excited here, you know, we run over another pine cone there and we get excited about that one. Why don't we have staff come back with a report on all the speed limits in Richmond, where they are, what they are, and then we can have a better look at it. And then they can also come back with recommendations on how to make them either them all the same, or even in some areas that maybe it does make sense to have lower speed limits for whatever reason. So, you know, I think it makes sense to look at it on a more global thing in Richmond than every time we run across, you know, a street sign that confounds us, that we come back and make them change one at a time.
Okay. In that case, I would like to suggest that in our
So I'd like to make an amendment that we look at, get staff to report back on all, and I understand this will take longer, but I think it makes more sense to do a holistic thing. So I'm making an amendment that staff look at all of our roads, all the speed limits, and come back with recommendations to make them more uniform and to reduce any that make sense.
Okay, now before I let Councillor Hobbs to speak, I just want to flow an idea. Perhaps, you know, we can separate the two. We can ask staff to study on number 6 road right away. And then the second part of the referral to staff is we can cover a larger area, and that may take longer. So that would be my thought.
Okay.
Councillor Hobbs?
That's his preferred.
Okay, good. Councillor Hobbs?
Thanks through the chair. I'm a little reluctant to broaden it to all of Richmond because I'm not sure there's a demonstrated need to examine all speed limits on all of Richmond. I wouldn't mind expanding this one to number 6 road. I think there are issues south of Westminster Highway as well. And I wouldn't object to adding on if you just examine the 60K speed zones in Richmond. Because I remember there being a couple, but truthfully, I don't know if they still exist or not. So I'd have to check them out. I could go that far, but to encompass all of Richmond and all speed zones, you know, I'd like to see if there's a demonstrated issue with that. That's how I feel about it. Thank you.
I just want to ask staff for any comments on this point. To how far do you think you can expand?
Mr. Chair, you know, as we enter this period where people are looking at things like Vision Zero, certainly there are some thoughts that residential areas should have slower speed limits, like 30 kilometers an hour, and arterial roads would be maintained at 50. I know that Transport 2050, the regional transportation plan, suggests potentially changing speed limits in residential areas to 40 kilometers an hour. So this kind of thinking is not outside of what's kind of currently going on within the transportation industry, but I do have to say I haven't seen too many cities actually change their speed limits more globally to you know, a lower speed limit. As we could see, even as we come back to you again with the Barnes Drive information that we got referred back earlier this year, it's hard to get agreement from everyone on what the speed limit should be. Certainly even in that area where everyone is driving 30 kilometers an hour already, we still had I think it was 2 or 3 people actually write to committee and council, you know, protesting such a move, even in an area where they're not going over that speed limit. So I don't think it would be without controversy, but it is something that is being suggested by a lot of transportation agencies in North America.
Okay. Now, I want to know, are there other opportunities that we can really look into the speed limit issue citywide? I mean, anything coming soon that we can really do that? Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. I think so. Like, I think, you know, when I looked at the speed bylaw or the traffic bylaw under the roads that have speeds other than 50 kilometers an hour, I think there were 4 or 5 different areas that had 60 kilometer an hour speed limits, and that might be a good thing to look at to begin with. But, you know, what I would suggest, you know, to echo Mr. Ursig, is that we have lots of areas where the speed limit's 50 kilometers an hour, and you know, we actually monitor the speeds, and average speeds can be, you know, up to 65 or 70 kilometers an hour. And in those areas, I think, you know, more enforcement is probably a good idea. I've definitely approached ICBC. Like, we have one spot where there is a speed camera in the city. And it does write a lot of tickets, and those tickets are only written for those going over 40 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. And I've suggested to them on a number of occasions that, there's a few other places, particularly on Steveston Highway, that we might benefit from having such a camera. Mr. Lynn's top 20 intersections report also identifies speed as an issue at a lot of those, and I've suggested to ICBC that as a start that we might consider having speed enforcement cameras at least our 20 worst intersections.
Okay, in that case, maybe now for one, we refer to staff to study the speeding problem on number 6 road and whether or not we should change the speed limits. And secondly, perhaps staff can give the committee some kind of feedback in the form of a memo or report regarding the feasibility or the need to look at certain streets or areas regarding speeding or speed limits. So instead of going into a full report of assessing whether or not we should change it, I just want staff to give us a preliminary report about some of the areas or some of the main roads that we should explore further. Would that be feasible?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we can do that because there's lots of information on, what accident rates are at different speeds and what the consequences are of those. And we can certainly provide that information. But I think what I was trying to get across is that whether we make the speed limit in an area 40, 50, or 60, if the people won't obey that speed limit, it really doesn't matter what kind of sign we put up there.
Right, okay, good. So can we do that? So the referral to staff is study on number 6 road and also some background information about speed limits, signs, and related issues in some of the areas that might worth exploring. So that would be the referral to staff. And the second referral is to our MP, asking for particular specific information about speed and enforcement on speed limits, application of engine brakes, and street racing. Okay. So do I move up for the referral motion? Michael and Linda. So I call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Good. Further manager's report. Mr. Lin?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have updates on 2 projects. First one is on the activities around the Capstan Station. With respect to road closures, the current 2-lane closure on number 3 road that was extended from last Friday to today for the installation of a sanitary line. The work is complete, and we've been informed that number 3 road is back to the typical road closure during the station construction, which is closure of 1 northbound lane. And we haven't received any complaints from the public. And also on the Capstan Station project as well, we learned that TransLink is currently installing art wrappings on the hoardings around the construction site, and this work will continue over next week. The art wrapping will remain during the duration of the station construction. Update on a second project. This is with regards to Shell Road and Williams Road. We have just been informed today that CN Rail's work is wrapping up over the next few days. And we are planning on next Wednesday, which is March 30th, to fully energize the full traffic signal at the intersection. So that's next Wednesday on March 30th.
Okay, good. Questions? Andy? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Thanks. First, at Williams and Shell Road, thanks for that update because we probably all have had a couple calls about what's happening there, so that's good. I just wanted to make a quick comment regarding the cleanup that's happened, particularly on the South Dike. We had a lot of floods, we had a lot of upstream events, king tides, high tides, storm surges, and the amount of debris that was along the dike was immense. like it was huge and it was quite high up too. So I just noticed, probably a week ago or so, driving along there, that the amount of work that's been done by staff and by crews in cleaning that up is, I think, remarkable. There was so much debris, and the number of hours and the effort that's gone into cleaning that up, and I'm sure other portions as well of the dike, has been fantastic. And I think that anybody who's gone by there would probably echo that. And we're just really lucky to have the means to be able to do that amount of work. And I, for one, I'm sure everybody appreciates the work that staff has put into cleaning up the dike in the waterfront area. So thank you. That's it.
Okay, very good. So any further reports? Okay. Chet?
Mr. Chair, yeah, I have two reports as well. The first report is about the 2022 Mosquito Abatement Program. Staff can report that Richmond is now formally participating in Metro Vancouver's regional mosquito abatement program, along with 5 other member municipalities. Richmond's program typically begins in May every year and includes several, up to hundreds of sites along the city's West Dike and riparian area network weekly for mosquito larvae abundance. The program will also be fortified with public outreach, field monitoring, manual larvae treatment, as well as reporting services from a third-party consultant that is serviced under the Metro Vancouver program.
Okay.
And the second one is regarding the 2022 B City application. In January, Council endorsed Richmond's Pollinator Partnership Canada application to become a designated B City, Canadian B City. On March 18th, staff were informed that Richmond was successful and is now considered the 7th local government in British Columbia and the 61st local government in Canada to become B City certified.
Yay.
It's pretty exciting.
Very good.
Yeah, and the city is planning to celebrate the news coming up on social media, and we're also beginning to prepare for the National Pollinator Week that's typically held in June each year. And further to this report, we will be circulating a memo as well.
Very good, very good. Very exciting. So any further questions, comments? Seeing none? Oh, Michael?
Thanks. So I guess there was no other manager's report, so I just had two quick ones. At our last meeting, and it is listed in the minutes, that staff were going to come back with the update on Hamilton area street banners. So if we have the right lamp poles to put up those banners, and we just had at council last week the banner showcase, and that and the direction from the mayor was that we try and prioritize to make sure Hamilton gets a street banner. Do we know yet if infrastructure is correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, the only poles in that area that can accommodate poles are the ones that have just been recently put in for the development. There's a few on Gilly and a couple on Westminster Highway. So we will be discussing with the banner program on putting banners up on those poles.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And my final question was about River Road. It was closed yesterday, and there was a sign at what was it, about 7 Road and River Road, but it was closed east of that. And I know there was some dike infrastructure a few months ago that does staff know what went on? Was it a dike issue, or it was like yesterday afternoon?
I'm not aware of any work that was going on. I'm not sure if Mr. B has any additional information.
No, Mr. Chair, I was through the chair to Councillor Wolf. I'm not aware of a closure out there, but I can certainly get staff to find out and get back to you.
Okay. If it's no big deal, then you don't have to get back to me. But if it is big, then do share. Thanks.
Okay. If there's no further comments or questions, can I have a motion to adjourn? We'll second it. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.